everyone. I'm Madi.
And I'm Laura.
And welcome to another episode of Beyond the Barricade.
Yeah.
Today, we are talking with Huddy.
Yes.
Who is newer to the music scene. He's a newer artist for anyone who is unaware of who he was. He grew a following on TikTok, social media, and then kind of dove into the music world. So definitely a newer artist, but such a fun guy to talk to.
I will say I quite enjoyed this talk because I'm at that age where and I don't know like what generation he's a part, like the Gen Z, millennial, whatever it is. Yeah, I don't know
Divide.
those. Yep, I don't. Yep, but like you just said, he grew up in, or he became like kind of more well known in that scene. But I was out of that scene. Like I did not know
aware.
him. Yeah, I wasn't aware of him. And so I literally only heard of him from like the music side of it. And we kind of mentioned that a little bit in the episode. But yeah, apparently like I was talking to a couple of my interns from the summer about like him.
The youths.
Yeah, I was doing my, my research.
Yes.
Before any interview because we are good at our jobs. And I was like, yeah, this artist Huddy. And they were like, he's from, and they gave me like the whole lore of him. And I was like, oh, okay. But I was kind of going in blind. Anyway, all that to say, yes, he is newer in the music scene, but it's exciting because it's just, he has that like spark, that really like excitement about it.
The like energy and just, excitement over, diving into something new.
I was trying to think, have we had a conversation yet with somebody, maybe, I guess like Rowan Drake too, like kind of like the younger side, like their freshman album kind of roll out. Yeah. I love them.
Me too.
Yeah.
And we talk about it a little bit in the interview, but I think Huddy was such a, like, it was cool because it was so different because this is someone who already had a following and then kind of switching lanes to do something different. I feel like that's so interesting because normally I feel like that's half the battle of kind of getting people to pay attention to you.
So right.
Yeah. And I don't, it's interesting to like kind of switch lanes and already have a built-in audience. And we talked to him and he had some really cool things to say about of living that out right now.
Yeah, because it's kind of like you want to bring part of that audience over onto your new passion and your new journey, but you don't really know how it's going to be received.
Yeah.
And then you have the whole other pressure of having people who don't know you from that world, like receiving you.
Right.
And it's just like, it's a lot of things.
Yes.
And I think he's doing a really great job at, not really paying attention to that.
Right.
And he's like finally now like at a point, and I say like at a point, we talk about it in the interview, don't worry guys. But he's at a point now where he's like, truly finding himself and his sound and doing it his way, which is really exciting. And that's I feel like kind of like the bulk of this episode, like what we talked about with him. He does a lot. Yeah.
I think that's like I don't know, just like such a special thing about being a newer artist is like that journey of kind of finding your sound and like what you want to do is so like chaotic and fun, but like it's just something that once you're kind of established, you can always change your sound, but I feel like you don't have the pressure of like, I am known for this sound, so therefore I don't feel like I can do anything else. He's very experimental right now, which
is great.
Is so cool and such a fun place to be.
Yeah. I love it. I was really excited and he was excited and he gets like, I don't know, he just genuinely was like happy about it. And if you're listening to this episode, make sure you like at least go and like watch a little bit of it because he just like, I don't know, the look in his face while he was talking and describing about what he has coming up was just like, I don't know, you couldn't help but get excited for him and like with him. It was very contagious.
And you can just tell that he's just like excited and happy to do like everything that he's got. Even when we were there, it was ahead of obviously his Dallas show. And it was pouring in Dallas, but he, as we were setting up our equipment and we introduced ourselves to him and he's like, I'll be right back. I have to go film a video real quick. And then he came back in and he was so, we just did a video in the rain. And like, he's just
golden
like,
retriever energy.
Yeah, but just like so excited to do everything. And like, I feel like any idea anyone has or anything, he's just like, he's willing to try
appreciative of like our time. And we were like, it was a very tight schedule that we were allotted with him, which we understand, it was day of a show. There were like 3, I think, total bands. So it was in between sound checks. And he was like, you guys, I'm so sorry. Like, I have to go do this really, I'll be right back, I promise. And then we even actually kind of like went over our time allotted because he just kept talking and he was like excited like after, and we'll save that one for the outro, that little conversation. But I think
we can just dive in and then we'll have more to say after. But it's a really good interview. We hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah. Enjoy this talk with Huddy.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Barricade. I'm Laura.
I'm Madi.
And we are here with...
What's up, guys? I'm Huddy, otherwise known as Chase Hudson.
How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
Yeah.
This tour's been awesome. It's been really life-changing, and the adrenaline has just like kept me up from after the show until like 3 a.m. every day. Then I wake up super tired and I'm like, okay. And then like, we get back to the stage and it's just like another shot of adrenaline, another shot of adrenaline. And we've just been doing some really fun stuff like while we're having off days as well. So it's been a great bonding experience.
That's tour life for you, I feel like, for sure.
Yeah. Just step and repeat.
We went on, we did like 12 people and did some golfing and that was so much fun.
That's so much fun. I love that.
Well, before we dive into too much, for anyone who is unaware of who you are, can you give a little introduction and tell the people all about Huddy?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Cole Chase Hudson. I go by Chase. I grew up in Stockton, California, moved to LA when I was 17. And I started off with doing social media. I made a TikTok account when I was 14 years old. Wow. And by the time I was 18, I was a musician and like started making that pretty much my whole focus and was like kind of really what I wanted to do in the long run and made it happen.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I feel like at that young of age, I had no idea what the fuck I wanted to do. So the fact that you kind of had an idea like of music in some kind of aspect is honestly really amazing. Yeah, amazing. And you're doing it.
Yeah, I've always described myself as an entrepreneur, especially to my parents, just like telling them what I'm doing. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to be making money from all these different places. It's not going to really make sense, but one day I'll explain it to you.
But it's going to work and we'll figure it out.
So what was Chase listening to at 14?
At 14, I was listening to a lot of SoundCloud rappers.
There it is.
I grew up with like Lil Skies and X and just fucking all of that scene. Lil Uzi, Playboi Carti. But when I was a little bit younger, my parents really like got me into like the classic rock scene and just like what that was and what that meant to them when they were a kid.
Yeah, very nice. So all of these artists that you kind of grew up listening to, do you think that they had a major influence on the music you make now? Or have you kind of dove into other inspiration?
I didn't really realize like how much I loved the music that my parents like put me onto when I was a kid until I grew up. And once I started to really develop my own music taste, I realized that was a part of that music taste. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like when you're a kid, you're just like, Mom, play the pop radio.
Right. You kind of have a new appreciation for it a little bit when you're older.
Absolutely. And especially now being a musician, I'm just like looking at all the things from a different lens and just from like a production stance and a melody stance, things that you don't even like realize are even there until like you start making music and you're like, whoa, like there's just so many hidden things and hidden gems in songs alone. And so it really helps you, love the music and appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know you released one full-length album and then you just released an EP this year. And then you have a new single that you just dropped recently, this month. Do you think that you've seen a growth as far as, I think your first album was in 2021, I think it released. So how has that kind of growth, how do you think it's been going so far? Like, have you seen any huge dramatic?
Absolutely. Huge changes, just night and day, especially between like even my first tour that I put out after my first project. Like just between that and here, I'm just a completely different performer. I've found my style, my flow, and really everything that I want to talk about within my music and how to structure it. I understand what to say a lot more. And I think with the first project, I made it all before I'd even released my first song. So I didn't really know how to like get people's like feedback before even putting out the first song. So I really had no idea. And like after doing my first album and then my first tour, it brought me to a place where, okay, I'm making new music, but I'm making it from the perspective of a live audience listener.
Ooh, cool.
And so that's why there's been like more of an upbeat energy and just trying different things out. But with this next project, it really honed in on everything I love about rock and roll and just kind of going back to those like old school roots.
That's sick. Is there a certain like artist that you look up to as far as performance wise that you kind of keep in the back of your mind when you think about stage presence?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching Limp Bizkit's Woodstock 99 set.
Yes, that's sick.
Like right before I go on stage every day, just to like capture the idea. Just hype myself up. I've been listening to my band, just like they're super diehard, like hard rock, hardcore, like metal stuff. And I've been listening to like live wise, I would say I was listening to a lot of rappers and people like Travis Scott and Playboi Carti. When it comes to like the live performance aspect, I'm just really like dumbfounded by like how energetic they can make a crowd compared to other artists. Like it just seems like effortless. Yeah. And I see that, but then I also see like the people that really try hard. I've been big fan of Pierce Veil for a long time.
Yes,
and God, they fucking crush
They're incredible live.
Yeah. So I take a lot of inspo from them. And like every night I've been watching Mod Sunset because he just absolutely crushes
Another
it.
One, yeah.
And so I've been learning a lot from him as well. He's been giving me little tips.
I love that.
Speaking of Mod Sun, obviously you are on tour with Mod Sun and Lovely the band right now. How's tour been going?
Dude, tour's been great. I didn't realize like how much fun everybody was.
Yeah.
Like until like you really just got into like the deep cuts of us getting the coffee and they just crack jokes. Yesterday, Lovely the band came in and shot a Nerf gun at me 7 times.
Amazing.
So
we're just having fun on tour.
It was a nice little wake up call. For
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
1,000%.
It's so fun.
I'm kind of curious too, because we love talking to artists about their relationship with their fan base. And I think you're kind of a unique case because you obviously had a following before you dove into being an artist. Have you seen kind of a switch of people knowing you from TikTok to people knowing you from your music? And how's that been like kind of diving into a new fan base?
Cool. It's really fucking cool. I mean, a lot of the Mod Sun fans, some of them only know me from Downfalls High.
That's amazing.
And some people come to me like, dude, you're so great in Downfalls High. And just, I became such a fan of you tonight. Sorry, what's the question?
Just have you seen a shift of people noticing you from TikTok to now noticing you from your music?
Absolutely.
And how does that feel?
It feels really great because like people on TikTok, I think they kind of come and go, and some people are there for a trend or whatever it may be. But I think like with music, it's like super diehard fans. And when I made that transition into music, it seemed very seamless. Like people really were just like, I expected this. Like this is super on brand for you. And just I was kind of building up like connecting with people and like kind of making them realize that there's like an emotional side to me before I even like went out and made music. But I always also was really in touch with fashion too. So I've been like making like eras out of like what types of fashion I'm going to wear and what kind of jackets and hair and all those kinds of things. But I also pay attention to a lot of artists that do make those kinds of like little switch ups. They go blonde and they have green hair and they have pink hair. And I'm just like, oh, it's really interesting how people do that with eras and they like really recreate what they look like and what they sound like.
Yeah, it really like morphs into that era or that album or that time in their career that I think is so recognizable, which is cool. It's funny you mentioned fashion because before we were rolling, you said that you hit up some thrift stores while you were here in Dallas and they were fun. I looked at your story and lo and behold, you did have like 10 bags with you. So I like that Dallas did well for you.
Yeah. Everyone went and gambled the other day and lost all their money. This is how I gamble. I go into a thrift store and I spend money like a crazy person. But
I love it.
Like
find gems.
It was nice, and also the prices were shocking to me, like mind blowing. Because everything I saw there, I was just like, "This is a $200 t-shirt. Guess how much they're selling this for? $20."
Yep.
I was shocked.
Yeah, I bet it's a big difference from LA. And like,
I found like some of the nicest leather jackets, and they were all like $60.
That's
like,
amazing.
Leather. I'm like,
that's so good.
When we're done filming, you're telling me where you went because I'm like
all the stores.
Thrifted Threads and 2nd Street.
There we go. There's our plug for them. Yes. I will say, I feel like you are too kind of in this unique area as far as like, you started with social media, but when you get into kind of like this genre in particular, people, they might know who you are, but like, for example, like I wasn't involved in like the whole like social media side of the following. And I like when I searched your name, it's like I just actually truly found your music. And I was like, oh, okay, like I can see now this kind of image of you reflected into your music. And so I think you're doing a very great job.
Thank you
for all of that. Do you think, though, I do have a question for this. If you had to describe yourself as far as like an artist or a sound, who would you kind of say you are very similar to?
That's honestly where I trick myself every day. Because I kind of look at myself as like an oddball in the weirdest way. Like I make a song and then I leave the studio and I go, I can't name a single fucking artist that this sounds like. And I think that's
cool.
why why it like really helps, you know, with pushing it. But I would say that the 3 artists that we have been referencing are Deftones, Pierce the Veil, and Linkin Park.
That's fucking great. I love that so much.
Yeah, that's always been our reference.
Yeah. That's great.
I will say, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, but it in my world, obviously, I wouldn't know firsthand, but having a TikTok following versus having people follow you for music, I feel like would be so different because kind of like you said, people really gravitate toward new things and new sounds that they connect with. And you can have a room full of people singing your songs to you and they all have a different personal connection or a, you know, person in their life it makes them think of or a circumstance, but they're all there with that kind of shared
experience.
Yeah,
but
it's such a cool thing that you're creating through this new avenue.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah,
good job. That's awesome.
I just want to keep like inspiring people through lyrics and through song, and like as long as I can get them a little bit, like it can go a long way. Like I the first half of my set is all love songs. Second half of my set's like straight up just heartbreak, and you know what I mean. So it just takes you on a roller coaster.
Don't look at me like that.
It's all very intentional. Even my first album was supposed to be songs that went from love to hate and heartbreak, and that's kind of what teenage heartbreak is it's all these things, and it's a roller coaster.
But it's so intense, all of it.
But like with the new music, it takes a wild turn. Like it really does. And it's less about love, more about personal experience and just life and the kind of like the shitty things that go with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, sometimes you find yourself in those shitty heartbreaks and everything, and you kind of need to be really broken down to like your bottom to build yourself back up, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have.
Yeah. So great.
Well, thank you for your time. We know you've got things to get to and we want to wrap this up. But the last question that we always ask everyone is, what are you listening to right now? What are you a fan of right now?
I've become a really big fan of Knox Loose recently. I've been listening
You're really diving into the hardcore.
Yeah,
I love this.
That was my gateway drug to hardcore.
It's a great one.
And like every pre-show, we've been listening to like Limp Bizkit and Pierce the Veil and just Escape the Fate's been a new one as well.
Oh, yep, very good one.
Yeah, love them.
A lot of high energy.
And then my band's been putting me onto Slaughter to Prevail and God, who's the guy that goes, "Two"?
Yep.
Monkey see, monkey
we did just talk about this.
They can't stop playing their music, and I'm actually obsessed. I'm just like, damn, this shit's mean. But it's also got like that country twang to it, and you could feel it.
I'm going to put you on one for your like listening recommendations.
Please.
The new 4 Year Strong album.
Analysis
Paralysis. Yeah. Dude. It's so high energy, but it's also like Northeast pop punk, but heavy on the punk aspect. It's
okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But to like really like say it in just a few words is like I listen to like 90% just me, and then like other music, I'll turn my shit off if I'm about to go on stage because I don't want to like get too nervous and whatnot. I don't know why. No. I still get a little nervous, but like take some deep breaths.
Just started out. Yeah. If you don't have the nerves, then you've lost the reason why to do it.
Exactly.
It matters.
This is just the beginning. I just care about like going out there and connecting with the audience. And once I've gotten that, then like the rest of the show is a breeze. But before,
stress. I can imagine.
Yes. 1,000%.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
So that was our interview with Huddy. Our quick little combo.
Yep. Are we all big Huddy fans now? Because I fully expect that.
Yeah.
Now I am.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm just going to dive into this. I was going to ask you, but I'm taking the question.
Do it.
My favorite part, and I don't even know if we caught it on camera or if we were recording or anything, but we were talking to him about his new song that is now out with
Palais Royale.
Yes, with Palais Royale. He was so happy and excited about it. And he was like, do you guys want to listen? And we were like,
so we got a little exclusive listen before it was out.
We were like, absolutely we do. And he was just sitting there like with his phone, like smile on his face, like really excited. And we were like, yeah, it fucking goes hard. And it was a different sound than like what I expected. Especially like when he was like telling us about like the artists that he likes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the song came up because we had asked him, I think it was the end of the tour when their Dallas day was like one of the last ones. We're like, so do you have anything else coming up for the end of the year? And he's on tour in the UK, I believe right now with Palais Royale, and they did a song together, and that's how like all of that came up. But just how we kind of said in the intro, like it's just so cool to see, because even just like asking him that as we were packing up our stuff and taking down camera and equipment and all that, he was just so excited to talk about it. And he was telling us how he met them, and he just like loved their vibe, and now they're on tour together, and now they have a song together, and just so enthusiastic about it.
So enthusiastic.
And again, just so like hungry and so like willing to try anything, and just like if something catches his attention, he wants to like dig into it. Yeah. And that's what he did. And now here we are with this banger of a new song, and he's on tour with a band that he admires. Like, I thought that was just such a cool little thing that wasn't in the actual interview, but we felt the need to share.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a fun song. It's like an energetic song, I feel like. And it's very different than like his first like music that he put out. And I think that was like kind of like an emphasis on himself like growing as an artist, because one, he's still newer in the scene. He doesn't have like the longest of catalogs.
Right.
But there is still so much growth and development in that sound. And so you can tell, that he is finding his own voice and really honing in on what he is good at and what's a true representation of himself. And I feel like he's like on it.
Yes.
He knows like the track that he's on, and he's like, it's a reflection in what he sounds like now.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's such a great conversation. He's such a kind person in general, and we really appreciate, him taking the time to talk to us, because it was honestly fun. And then we were talking about thrift stores. He was like, Dallas has the best thrift. And I was like, where were you going? Yeah. And he was just like sharing all of his spots that he hit up. And it was so great.
He had posted on his story earlier that day, like his thrift finds, and there were like 10 bags. It was so funny.
We loved it.
He told us about the thrift stores in Deep Ellum.
Yep.
That he hit up, was talking about how he loves fashion too, and that's like
a reflection of him.
Like fun little creative outlet as well. Like he is just such a fun, genuine person.
Yeah.
And I think that comes through in the interview. So biggest takeaway is I think every single person listening to this needs to follow along with Huddy, because he is just starting.
He is just starting,
and it's going to be a fun journey getting to watch him throughout his musical career.
Yes. It is. We're excited. We are now the biggest Huddy fans.
Yes.
The newest of Huddy fans. And you should be too.
Yep. Also, so much energy.
Yes.
If you ever get the chance to see him live, please go do it.
Oh my gosh, he works.
He works. Yeah. And I think we talked about it. I can't remember if it was in the interview or after, but just like I think it was during it. Kind of just like the intentionality of being energetic on stage and putting on a show, and like making sure your stage presence is there, and like impressing anyone who, takes the time to come to shows. Yeah,
absolutely. Very big fans of that.
Yes. Yeah. We love Huddy.
We do. Thanks, Huddy.
So if you're not already, go ahead and follow along, because like we said, it's going to be, he's going to have such a good career, and it's going to be so fun to watch him. And I think we're going to see so many evolutions of Huddy. And I think they're all going to be great. And he's such a great person.
He is.
Yeah. And he's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. You can follow him on all social medias. We'll put those in the show notes.
We'll link it all.
Yep, we'll link it all below. And in addition to that, we will also link.
We are once again here.
To let you guys know that you can rate this episode or rate the podcast as a whole. That's how we push forward through.
That's how people find us.
Yes. We'll also have all our info below, our social medias.
Follow along on everything.
Yep. We are very aware about our social media presence. We're commenting back and forth a lot on people.
Yep, we try. We
keep the conversations going. Yeah.
So we'll have everything linked below. Follow along, like Laura said. Rate us, write a review if you can. That's so annoying because we say it after every episode, and I'm sure every podcast you listen to does, but it really, really does help. And it takes 2 minutes to do. So we appreciate it if you would so greatly.
So greatly.
And, we actually have an episode.
Oh, yes.
Right? Coming out
next week.
Yes. Surprise.
Remember that time we said that we were going every 2 weeks? We still are, but
we're giving you a couple extra ones here.
The holidays are coming up, guys. We understand that people are going to be traveling and in the car and on the plane. So we're really just giving it for you as a gift. The gift of us.
Correct.
Our voices.
Yes. So
in your ear holes.
We've been really fortunate to have some like really good conversations, and we've just have some little surprise episodes for you. So just keep a lookout. We're sticking to our every 2 week plan for new episodes, but we're sprinkling in some bonus ones.
Love that.
Here and there, which are going to be fun.
They're going to be so delicious.
Keep up. Obviously, we'll post about it, so if you follow along, you won't miss anything.
But that's the only way you'll know.
Yeah. So follow us on everything.
All right. That's it for this episode, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.